So the device that Lauren, Carson, and I created was the pull and pour, and it is created out of an oatmeal container, duct tape, parachute cord, PVC elbow fittings, PVC pipe, screws, and nuts. So the total cost is $8.40 if you discard the cost of the oatmeal container and the spare duct tape that you just happen to have lying around the house. So our device description, so as you can see in our prototype that's pictured here, the PVC frame would be attached to the holder, which is our oatmeal container. And if we were to actually create this device, we would replace the TheraBand that you see in these pictures with the parachute cord. And there is a link right down here that you can click on to see our device actually in action. The purpose of our device is to decrease the physical skills that are needed to independently pour the contents of a bottle into a cup without spilling it. So some of those physical skills include upper extremity range of motion, strength, and coordination. So our device still requires these skills, but again, it just decreases the amount that is needed with each of these skills. So when using the device, the item that you want to pour is placed inside of the holder. It's secured with the loop around the top, which you can see in the yellow TheraBand. And then the string is pulled from the bottom, and that will tip the holder and pour your contents into a cup. There are a variety of items that you can use with our device. In the example, I used a milk jug, but you could also use a water or juice container. You could also use it with food items, including cereal or rice or other snack items. You could also use it with ADL or IADL items, so we're also thinking you could use it for laundry detergent, and if you were to use it for that, you would either need a counter next to the washer that you could place the device on, or you could also extend the legs of the frame so that it could sit on the floor and still be at waist or elbow height for the person for easy pouring.
So as you can tell with our adaptation, it requires the individual have some sort of grip to be able to grasp the resistance band or the string that is attached to it. And it also requires some strength to be able to pull that string or resistance band, although it is not as much strength as they would probably need to pick up the jug and control it to pour what was in the container of the jug. And so we thought we could actually mention some adaptations you could make to our adaptation to make it more easy to use with a range of individuals depending on their needs. So you can use a duct tape roll to tie to the end of the string or resistance band so that the person would not actually have to grasp onto a string or resistance band, and instead they can stick their arm into the circle to be able to pull and tip over that device. This would be useful for individuals with upper extremity amputations. On the other hand, you could also use a pull noodle just as a build-up handle. So maybe the person was unable to have a tight-fisted grasp around the small string or around the resistance band, and so you could simply just thread the string or resistance band through just so they could have that bigger object to grasp onto to pull the container and pour the contents out of it.
Okay, so now Maggie and Carson have told you a little bit about our device, the pull and pour, described it for you, told you its purposes, some different adaptations that can be made, different items it can be used for, and I'm going to discuss the primary diagnosis we chose to benefit from our pull and pour, and then Carson is going to discuss some secondary and alternate diagnoses that we also wanted to touch on. So as far as our primary diagnosis, we decided on muscular dystrophy, and it's muscular dystrophies because we know there are a few different types of muscular dystrophy, and I'm not going to get into those. We're just going to look at it as a whole. So we know it's a progressive muscular disorder. It impairs normal muscle function, so that means it decreases muscle strength, muscle fatigue, and pain are present. It impacts fine and gross motor skills, and it can decrease range of motion. And as we know, it will present differently for different patients and depending on what type they have. But those are some of the overall characteristics. So as far as the performance skills impacted, we've got a lot of motor skills. So things like stabilizing, positioning, reaching, manipulating and coordinating, lifting and flowing through movements and endure these tasks. So you can see that this device aims to decrease the muscle strength, the muscle load, and range of motion required to pour various items that you can find in the house, and Maggie's already touched on that. So the aim to decrease the muscle strength and range of motion required helps to lessen the impact of these motor skills for the items like stabilizing, positioning, manipulating the device, coordinating both bilateral movement, lifting things. And then as far as processing skills, it kind of plays off of that. So they'd have difficulty using as far as maybe bilateral coordination and coordinating those movements as far as motor planning, handling the objects, initiating the pour, continuing through the movement and the task, and terminating the task efficiently, and being able to accommodate for their difficulties during the task. So, like I said, the use of this device aims to decrease the load put on the muscles, and then in turn provides a way to promote energy conservation during completion of various ADLs or IADLs.
In addition to muscular dystrophy, we just wanted to mention a few more diagnoses that we think could benefit from the adaptation we made, and those include cerebral palsy, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, or even someone with Parkinson's disease. And so all of these diagnoses have some overlapping characteristics and features, such as impacted muscle weakness, decreased fine and gross motor movements, fatigue and pain, tone that may lead to contractures or muscle stiffness. With that being said, many people can benefit from this low-tech device, and different grips can actually be given to the low-tech device for it to better fit more people and be more useful. We hope you all can see the benefit in this low-tech device as we've described it, and the link for viewing the video will be attached in the discussion board in case you want to watch it. We hope you enjoyed listening to our video, and if there's any questions, please feel free to drop them in our discussion board. Thanks.